Hey guys, welcome back to the continuing saga of what to play against 1d4. So I've tried a bunch of things in the past. I've tried the England Gambit leading to the Hartlab Charlotte Gambit, which is fine for bullet, maybe for blitz, but is not a reliable option. I've played the Black Knight's Tango as well, which is more respectable. But I've just started getting into the classical Dutch. One of the main reasons is that I've already purchased a bunch of courses from Simon Williams, and he's got his Killer Dutch course on the classical Dutch. So last night I played 2 games in the Dutch, and I would like to take you through those games, if that's all right. And we'll learn a little bit about the Dutch along the way. Not a lot, because my opponents are intermediate level as well, so they're not playing the most critical moves either. But it should be a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something aggressive with which to counter d4, this might be one to consider, because the first move, pawn f5, you don't have. I mean, you can actually play like Perk style, I think, with 1d6. And then play this move later, which can get you away from certain unpleasantries, for example. But this is what I've played in the game. So let's go through this one. So my opponent's rated about 1461 after this game. So we have c4. I develop my knight. And here, see, the Dutch has 3 main configurations. You've got the Leningrad Dutch with g6. And then fianchetto your bishop here. That's, again, quite a different opening in a way. Or you've also got the Stonewall with kind of this setup. You put your pawns on the light squares and just try and block it off. You can also play, there's a Stonewall equivalent as well for white, but it's different. But with the classical Dutch, the idea is to play pawn to e6, pawn to d6, usually put your bishop on e7. And one good thing as well is if you can get in your queen's bishop, get the fianchetto in before white does, then that's generally a good thing. I didn't do that here. I play e6. Now he proposes the fianchetto, so it's too slow for me to do that, because if I did that, I lose my bishop and my rook, so not very good at all. So bishop e7, he fianchettos, I castle, and now he pushes d5. Now I don't approve of this move. I think this is premature. So here, yeah, it's 0.3, 0.4 for white, and here he's just lost most of his advantage in that. Okay, so one of the main ideas to remember in the classical Dutch is if you can get in the move e5, you want to get in the move e5. So it's the best move. The other one as well is knight a6 here, according to the machine, because I've got lines up here as well. Okay. But you can see the eval, it's absolutely balanced here. So black has already equalized at this point. I'm castled, I've got 2 pieces off the mark. What's white got? He's got a fianchetto bishop, he's got 1 knight out. But he's behind in development because he's made 4 pawn moves actually, because the d-pawn's moved twice. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now we have e4 from white. Computer here says I can take actually with either of these. That's interesting, because if you think, well, knight takes, if he takes, yeah, I take back, so it's absolutely equal there. And the other move is pawn to d6. So I do take with the pawn, because I'm figuring, why not open up the f-file, right? My rook is, because I'm already short castled, I've got my rook on the f-file, my bishop's getting ready to come out, you never know, my queen might come out as well, we can apply pressure there, why not? He takes back with a knight, and here I throw in bishop b4 check. He blocks, and I decide, so this is an interesting one, right? A lot of us would think, oh, let's just trade off. But what that does is it gets white's queen off the mark, right, off the back rank. Whereas, if white were to capture here, and my queen is now in the thick of it, right, with check and a fork on that pawn as well. So he shouldn't really capture here. He takes with the knight, and of course I recapture with my Rook, that's right, because my queen's the only defender of this bishop. We don't want to do anything silly there. And, you know, who knows? Maybe we've got ideas of, like, I could play d6, I could bring out my bishop somehow, or even, you know, as things stand, maybe stick the bishop here. Yeah, I mean, we've both got the problem with these pawns in the way if that pawn's blocked off, but then maybe I can get my knight out, I can get my other rook over to f8. Plays knight e2. I play d6. Apparently this is a mistake. This is now apparently a mistake. Oh, it is a blunder. And I noticed this just as soon as I played it. What have I done? I've blocked the queen's defense of the bishop. Right, but Tom doesn't see it. He just goes ahead and castles and loses his winning advantage. So it says here I should trade off. I didn't trade off, I just retreated my bishop. I thought, well, why not? You know, what's wrong with this? The pawn's now pinned, I'm attacking it twice. That seems pretty tickety-boo to me. Okay, he now comes in with a pin on the rook and queen. Well spotted, because I've missed that one. Because I was only thinking about one thing here. And this is the reason why I should have traded off, right? Because he had this. I should have seen the alignment issue with my queen and my rook. I missed it. So he does the pin. I develop my bishop, thinking, well, there's not much I can do about the rook right now. He takes, I take back with the queen, and he lifts his queen. Okay. Knight d7. Fairly obvious move, natural looking move. Obviously I can't go to c6, so what am I going to do? I might come around this way, I might come around this way. Look at this pawn. But I've also activated my rook, so my rook's almost certainly going to come along to f8. Now I haven't been over this game since I played it. Okay, so we have bishop there. I think I drop back here to h5. No, I don't. I drop back to f5. Queen comes across. Now my queen's defended by knight and pawn, so I'm not too worried here. I in fact just slide the queen over. Okay. Is that the best move? No, apparently rook f8, right? Taking a bad piece and making it better. In the words of the Beatles. I don't do that. Okay, so we're still very much equal. He hits my bishop again. I do have a square. I've got c2. He tries to trap me. And now it's rook f8 with tempo. And black has a tiny edge now. Queen dodges out the way, and in comes my knight. I'm just trying to use all my stuff. There's definitely an idea of e4 and giving my bishop an anchor here. That might be quite good. Okay, he hits my bishop. Where's my bishop got? Well, it's got this defended by the queen, I guess. It could also go here, defended by the knight. So what do I play? Computer says d3 is best, but the second move is knight e4 with a upping the danger levels with a counterattack on the queen. He takes, I take back with the bishop. Okay, now splendid bishops. Look at this. You know, really just slicing down. Both of them pointed towards the king. Dangerous times. Okay, moves his king out of to unpin the f2 pawn, but that was not fantastic. And now I think I find the best move. Rook f3. Yes. So I'm jamming up all his stuff here, right? I am still down an exchange, but look at my pieces. I've got the initiative. This rook is kind of bound now to the defense of f2. So it's effectively out of the game. It can't do anything active. This knight, I guess it could come here. That's quite likely. But yeah, he's not in a happy position right now. Okay, he moves his queen there. I bring my queen back. What should I have done here? Here it says bishop d3. Yeah. Okay. Again, pinning the knight on the rook. And you know, although he's still got two defenders here, it means the rook can't get out of the way. You know, the rook still has to defend f2, otherwise I'll take with my rook. So yeah, that makes sense. But I dodge my queen out of the way. He tries to exchange rooks. I'm having none of it. Rook f6. And now in comes his knight. Okay, what's the problem with this? Right? Exactly the same as before. Undefending your own pieces by blocking the defensive line. The queen was the second defender of the pawn on f2, and now it's all going to go Pete Tong. Okay, take here. Now, here there is a forced mate that I don't think I got. Okay, so here it's saying if rook takes, then that is actually mate because the bishop crisscrosses and covers that, so he can't take with a rook. I kind of realised that. The only other legal move here is he can't go there because of my bishop. If he goes here, it's mate in 2. Right, so I capture with check, and it's a discovered check as well, right? So this is what is played. So this is what I should have done. He can't, if I capture here, it's a discovered check by the bishop, but I missed that, right? Now every road is winning here, so you know it's okay. But something I'm realizing right now is I really do need to focus on just those clinical coup de grace blows. Okay, so here, yeah, that's just mate in 2. Yeah, the king can only go there, and then the queen comes in, and it's checkmate. Okay, I don't do that. I grab this pawn here, and that's where my opponent resigns anyway, because he's in check by the bishop, so he can't go on any of these squares. The only legal moves here are rook e3 to block, which I take and it's still check, or rook here to block, and then that's just mate, isn't it? Yeah, because the queen guards that. So yeah, there you go. One nice little game in the Dutch. Let's have a look at another one. Very next game. Again, I play d4. Again, well, he plays d4. Okay, and we have the quieter e3. I carry on as normal. Pawn e6. Pawn d6. This is a very easy kind of setup to remember. You have bishop e2. So here we notice that bishop ain't going to g2. So maybe right now I should be thinking about this. In fact, here maybe even g6. So here the machine says knight c6 is probably best. The second move is g6 to fianchetto. So that's worth remembering, right? If white lets you fianchetto your light squared bishop, get it in. Okay, so we have bishop e7, balanced position already, castles, h3. Okay, here the machine says b6 still is the idea, and that is indeed what I play. I play b6. His knight drops back, weirdly. I fianchetto the bishop, he castles. Queen e8, another signature move in the classical Dutch. Idea basically being that very often you'll come here. Now, we can't do that right now because obviously there's a big battery on there. But normally you've got the bishop has come to this g2 square, right? So you come in here, maybe bring your knights around. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, now he brings his bishop out. So he's targeting my bishop and my rook. Bishop is undefended, so something must be done. And I decide to close the center with d5. So here we have a more of a stone wall kind of pawn structure. Right? My dark squared bishop is okay. It's got access to a couple of reasonable diagonals here. My light squared bishop is less happy, obviously, but then again, so is his. So we have a4 from white. I play a5. a5 is fine. a5, a6, c5, all good. Okay. In comes his knight, so obviously he's looking at the c7 pawn with a follow-on threat of forking queen and rook. We're not having any of that nonsense. Queen d7 to defend. Bishop moves yet again, and now c6, kicking the knight out. Again, the best move. Okay, knight retreats. So who's happier here? The computer says black has a tiny, tiny edge. Obviously, I've got a really pants bishop here, but the thing about bishops is that they can hibernate until later. So here I'm thinking about, well, maybe we can like make a bishop queen battery against this corner. Moves his knight again. I've complete my development now with knight b to d7. This is move 15. And he undevelops his other knight. So, although it seems like, white's got reasonable development, this pawn structure is really making life quite difficult. I mean, he could, I guess, have dropped his knight in here. Takes. My knight then has to move and reconfigure itself. But then, this knight's doing a very important defensive role as well. So he undevelops his knight. I play queen to d6 with the idea of probably sliding this bishop, whipping it round the back. And for some reason, he plays knight back to c1. Okay, there goes the bishop. Knight comes back again. Where's it headed? I mean, this looks quite tempting, doesn't it? I do this anyway. Notice this knight can't move because it has to defend checkmate on with queen h2. He comes in with a knight. Now, obviously, this would not be the best idea in the world because pawn takes and you have yourself a pawn fork. Got to be careful about that. Anytime you've got pieces, with one square between them, always be on the lookout. So I shove my knight into his face now and say, smell my horse. He doesn't want to trade off his dark squared bishop. Yeah, computer says that's the best move. Also, just b3 is fine. So yeah, computer actually agrees with white here. It should save the bishop. But my knight's got a nice square there, and now I can trade off. Okay? So we have his knight in my face, in my half of the board. My knight's in his half of the board. Now I need to bring my queen around because this knight is on an outpost. Because I haven't got pawns on these squares, so I can't attack that knight with a pawn. So that knight is going to be there for the duration unless I decide to capture it with a piece. f4 now. Lashes out with f4. I decide to trade off. Now, I am giving up my good bishop, right? And I'm left with this guy, who right now is not the most cheerful bishop in the world. But, we're at the intermediate level. Someone's going to make a mistake. Need to be aware of it. Okay, so queen g5. Obviously, I'm just targeting this pawn here with check. He defends with the rook. Again, we're very, very balanced. The eval bar has not jumped massively in any direction like it did in the last game with the missed blunder. Okay, and now I push c5. Apparently that's a good move. And back comes the queen. Curious. Not sure why I did that, but there must have been a reason. Okay, he's now just fiddling with his pieces here. Okay, my knight swings around now, hitting the rook. Rook comes forward. Line up my queen. What was the best move here? It wants me to put the knight back where it came from, actually. That's what it wants. It says queen d7. Well, that's a very fishy move, isn't it? Okay, so queen here. Bishop targets the knight. My knight does find its way back to e4. Okay, again, black just has the slightest edge, and this is great for me. Trying to compete and to win games when it's very, very balanced. This is a good thing. So, I'm kind of liking this right now. He sticks his bishop back on the back rank because why not? Okay, now my queen pins this pawn. So if at any point, I mean, I'd love to be able to capture here on h3 with my bishop. That ain't going to happen anytime soon. Out comes queenie. I swing my knight round and hit the queen. Okay, so now we have a situation. The risk is this. If the knight moves, we could trade off and maybe open up the king, but is that the end of the world? I can do this, try and make use of the open file maybe, or semi-open file, but I dodge out the way with queenie. Brings his bishop there. Now, I always have this move. Is that the best move? Computer says it's the best move. Bishop a6 also is good here. Trying to trade off his reasonably active light squared bishop for my very bad light squared bishop. Maybe I should have considered that one. And the other move is cd here as well. Bring my bishop back. So I think my idea here is you get this sometimes in the Dutch and also in the French defense. Sometimes when you've got this blocked in bishop, just take it for a walk. Just take it for a walk all the way around the board, right? It hates that move. Because now rook h4 is good for him. And then bishop h5. Oh! Could I have got my queen trapped there? Yes, maybe. But he misses that again. He pushes a pawn. Again, my knight goes back to e4, right? Never be afraid to repeat moves if it's an improving move. And this is a blunder. Why is it a blunder? Right, well, he's just opened up this line of attack, right? I actually miss it. Oh no, I play queen g6. Now he comes in with the bishop, but now I have room. Bishop comes back, and now I take the pawn. So another just slightly asleep on the job there. Miss the opportunity, but it is now winning. King has to go to h1. I take, and now I just start going full Pac-Man on his ass, right? Rook hangs, and everyone dies. Okay? Try and trade off the queens. Line up the rook with the queen. Line up the rook with the bishop. He attacks, I just drop back with check. He blocks with the rook. I mean, here do I have this? I reckon I do. He has to take with the bishop, he loses more material. The rook's still... But I hit the rook here. Because the rook's still pinned, by the way. So I'm just hitting it with the pawn. He does this, I don't mind. Okay, and he resigns. Okay, so there you go. Just 2 games in the Dutch. Pretty balanced. We'll have a quick look at the review on this one, just to see how it went. But you know, I think as we'll see, it was really balanced throughout, and it's all about this jostling. Yeah, here we go. Look, so close throughout the entire thing. Never really more than a pawn different. This was interesting. So he has this, and I have to come here, and then this. I have to go back. Oh, this is just going to repeat though. So yeah, it's not actually a trap. But yeah, I think that graph, that's pretty good. You know, just holding on in there, waiting for the mistake. I needed 2 bites at that particular cherry. Because here, I should have just gone straight in for the kill. Taking advantage of this awkward backwards pawn. Yeah, but I missed it in that case. It took me a couple more moves, but we got there in the end, and then it all falls apart. And there we go, 1800 for me, 1500 for opponent. So very decent game, and yeah, I think this is okay. I think the idea about the Dutch, after all, is, if you think about it, it's like the mirror image of the Sicilian, right? So what are you doing in the Sicilian, right? In the Sicilian, when they play pawn here, you are saying, no, thou shalt not play d4, because I'm just going to take it, and you're not going to have your central pawns anymore, right? The Dutch is the same basic idea. You're saying, thou shalt not play e5. Sorry, e4, because I'll just take. And we're already equal. All right? So that's the fundamental idea of the Dutch. Where it goes from there, whether you're going to play Leningrad, whether you're going to play classical, or whether you're going to play Stonewall, you know, pays your money, it takes your choice. I've never really looked into the Stonewall, but it's perfectly respectable. Lots of great players have done it. Magnus has played it. But yeah, for me, I think right now, what I like about the Dutch, if we pull up the Lichess Explorer. Okay, F the flip. Okay, so this is set to 1800, 2000, 2200 on Lichess. Okay, what are the most common moves? D5, played 43% of the time. That'll take you down all the kind of Queen's Gambits and declined in Slavs and whatever. Knight F6, more kind of Indian style, right? We have E6. What is E6 called? The Horwitz defense. The hell is that? But, you know, it is actually, it's a precursor. I guess you could... Anyway, we'll be learning more about the Dutch, you know, if you follow the channel anyway. So E6, then G6. So G6 is like going straight King's Indian defense. Then you've got E5. E5, and by the way, this isn't blitz, this is rapid and classical. E5! The dodgy as hell England Gambit comes in at number 5, but it's still only played 3% of the time. Then you've got C5, the old Benoni, right? And then C6, which doesn't even have a name, but I guess, you know, the idea is that you're going to get into a Caro-Kann. This is one reason why the Caro-Kann is a very good and flexible opening at this level, because you can play it against a lot of things, I guess. So after C6, then we've got D6. Again, just called Queen's Pawn game, right? And then finally f5 is down at 2%, right? Out of 20 million games, this has been played 1 million times. So if you're a Dutch player, right, your d4 playing opponent with the white pieces, they always play d4. Let's say they always play d4. They're only going to see this move 1 in 20 games, right? But you are going to see it in all your black games against d4 if you're a Dutch player. Makes a lot of sense. Anyway, wish me luck. So enjoying it so far. Hopefully we'll carry on. Thanks for watching. See you later.